Copyright disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay, guys. More abuse towards women going without justice. Well, let's see. Maybe there's a little justice here. Considering, it went on for a decade. And sure, it was only him, right? So this is from The Guardian. Thank you, The Guardian. Article is 9 months old. I do like the artwork. One prison guard, 96 abuse charges. Women say serial rapist, they got it right, targeted them over a decade. It's too bad they didn't have a shank, eh? Exclusive records and interviews suggest the California prison, again Cali, prison system let Gregory Rodriguez get away with rampant sexual abuse while his victims were punished. Huh. Sounds like Scientology. Sam Levin in Los Angeles. And the Jehovah's Witness and all of them. Dated 25 October 2023. On 15 May 2022, Gregory Rodriguez, a guard at the Central California Women's Facility, ordered a 30-year-old woman in his custody to come to a hearing room at the prison. Oh, here's with the rooms again. Because they can't escape, see? Always remember, if somebody invites you in a room or their apartment, don't do it. He told her there were no cameras, so there you go. There you go. In the room, prison investigators allege, and gave her a choice. She could have S with him or get a write-up for a rules violation. Dude must have been ugly and really desperate, huh? When you got to do that to get S. Risking a lengthened prison term, revoked privileges, in solitary confinement. There's the blackmail, you guys. And this also does happen in various police forces. And full disclosure, I'm not saying all police officers do this. Not at all. He proceeded to rape her, because that's how he gets off. The investigators say, and would go on to assault her on at least 5 more occasions. Like I said, a shank. Jane Doe is one of more than 22 women Rodriguez is suspected of sexually harassing, assaulting, and raping. You guys know there's more. At CCWF over the span of nearly a decade. Well, basically, whatever day he started working at that prison is when it started. Let's just be serious. Prison officials say, the ones with no names. The former officer who has pleaded not guilty, of course he pleaded not guilty, to 96 sexual abuse charges, is now in jail awaiting trial. The case has raised an urgent question. How could one officer be accused of abusing so many women? Yeah, inquiring minds really do want to know. I have an inquiring mind. I want to know. Over so many years without getting caught. Yeah, isn't that interesting? Almost like there's more people involved, right? Almost like there's more prison guards doing this, right? I'm going to read that other article too, so there's another one. An analysis of court records and misconduct data. Yeah, LAPD, you should listen to that. As well as interviews with 5 women who spoke to The Guardian about Rodriguez's abuse, paint a picture of his system in which the most vulnerable women, always the vulnerable, you guys. These people are the feeders. The vultures. the energy vampires, the narcissists. Vulnerable women in the California Department of Corrections are routinely preyed upon. Of course they are. By the way, it happens to men as well. The young, very handsome men, it happens in their prisons as well. Often lured with promises of basic supplies. You see how it's just so sick. See, that's the problem with the pyramid systems, right? It's all this inequality. Put them in an equal area or another kind of area like a nice rural forest, you know, in small privileges and then threatened into silence. When women have reported abuse, they have at times faced severe consequences. You see, you guys, that's what cover-up looks like. See if I can get rid of this ad. I guess I can't. Okay. Anytime someone, including a child or a woman or a man, faces severe consequences for telling the truth, that's where you have cover-up. And chances are, I'd say 98.9%, the other, and it's usually men, sometimes women, are doing the same things. And I'm just going to keep it real. A lot of it is getting filmed and sold on the internet. Facts. They have at times faced severe consequences. This is the women that were AR'd, right? Where we heard that before. In some cases leading to longer prison terms. So you guys are telling me, I'm going to try not to swear. Let's see if I can do it. I don't know if I can do it. You're telling me that the other prestigious executives or officials were not involved in doing these things themselves? Come on now. Come on. They have at times faced severe consequences, in some cases leading to longer prison terms. So you're giving the wrong people the power, see? And further exposure to their assailants. Yeah, so they cannot get out again. Some officers have protected their colleagues. Some? Get the fuck out of here. And facilitated their attacks. You can't tell me there's not gang art going on. You can't tell me that. CCWF investigated, I guess in those evil circles they call it running a train. Isn't that great? CCWF investigated a report of Rodriguez's abuse as early as 2014. Let's see if they lost the paperwork or the files, which seems to happen in so many police districts. Testimony from a prison investigator and a victim reveals, but instead of terminating him, listen to this. Anytime you guys hear, oh, officer was put on administrative leave, it punished the victim, just like they punish the little girls and little boys AR'd in Scientology. Yep. Court records suggest Rodriguez would go on to commit dozens of additional alleged sexual assaults. Of course. Of course. I personally am surprised we don't hear and keep a real good ear out when there are these weird, strange events that happen in women's or men's prisons where the guards get taken out. Facts. Facts. Rodriguez's abusive conduct. You mean R'ing? Is that what you mean? The rapist? I'm going to change it, you guys. Let's come correct. Rodriguez's raping appears to extend beyond the allegations outlined by the prison's investigators. Yeah, almost like internal affairs in some of these departments. And in the resulting criminal case. The Guardian interviewed one woman who said she was assaulted, otherwise known as rape, by Rodriguez, but never reported it out of fear of retaliation. Huh. Rest in peace, Officer Tipping. Advocates say they believe there are more victims. Facts. Of course. What do you think these scumbags are going to do if they ever hear of children being AR'd. You see? Oh, I got so many thoughts. Abuse of incarcerated women is a systemic problem across the United States. Yeah, otherwise known as misogyny. Government surveys have estimated that more than, look at the numbers, 3,500 women, that's a Jesuit number, by the way, but I don't know if that's what it's for. 3,500 women are sexually abused by prison and jail staff each year. And the federal employees have abused women in at least 2/3 of federal women's prisons. It's time for the purge. I'm going to figure out how to do some sound effects. I haven't figured it out yet. I want to make it easy because I love to put that purge song right now. 2/3 of federal women's prisons. Oh, and look, you guys, look. Talk about me being crazy. You see how they display these letters? Inverted. Wakey, wakey. Wakey, wakey. You think that's an accident? Gregory Rodriguez has pleaded not guilty to 96 sexual abuse charges. That means rape. Courtesy of Madera County District's Attorney's Office. Oh, look at the DA's office put inverted letters on there. I mean, I'm going to give them just a little break, maybe, because sometimes when you take, because it's even happened to me, when you take video or photos on a cell phone or even on your computer, it does get inverted. So it could be just someone didn't catch it. But just so you know, they do that. And I'm going to show some proof, but I don't want to go too deep because they'll get all pissed. Prosecution is rare. Since 2014, people incarcerated in California's women's prisons have filed hundreds, you guys, hundreds. Un cien? How do you say it in Spanish? Un cien? I think 100 is cien. Of complaints. Do you see this? I'm going to try not to get mad because it just doesn't pay. Of sexual abuse by staff. But Rodriguez is one of only 4 officers from those institutions confirmed. You see the cover-up, you guys? Hello. By the state to have faced charges, you see? Maybe these MNFers need to face charges on the outside, if you know what I'm saying. You can't protect yourself in here, Selena, one of Rodriguez's alleged victims, said from inside prison. The women here are so vulnerable and so alone, and he clearly thought he was above the law. It's disgusting. Do you guys think he's the only one? Come on. Come on. I believe a lot of these men that get into these kinds of positions are psychopaths. And I mean psychopaths, not just a straight up narcissist, psychopaths. So then it's like they're predators. So where better to prey on women than a women's prison, right? No one will believe you. Isn't that the same thing that children that are S8 are told? Huh. Gregory Rodriguez, now 55, appears to have spent most of his career. I mean, just like the level of the cover-up just makes me want to rage out. Like, you're telling me that this guy's been R-ing these women for 10 years, allegedly. It's probably more. You guys know it's longer. He's the only one? He's the only one, right? He started with the department in 1995 at age 27. So 1995, let's see. 2005, that would be 10 years. 2015, that would be 20 years. Let's just say 2025, that would be 30 years. So like 29 or... See, it's not... It's longer than they're trying to make it out. Of course it is, right? Training for 2 months before he was assigned to men's prisons. In 2010, he moved to CCWF, an overcrowded women's facility with 2,400 residents in Chowchilla, a remote rural town hours away from the state's major metro areas. there's also that isolation there. The first alleged incident, documented, so it didn't, if it's not documented in courts, I guess it didn't happen, right? Just like the little children that try to tell people, and the scumbags try to say that the children, they have all, that they're lying, and that it didn't happen, and there's no proof, and all this crap. The first alleged incident documented in court files occurred in April 2014. So let's see, 2014. So that's all it is. So 10 years is documented. So if this dude was there since he was 27 and he's 55 now, that means he's been doing it since day one. You guys know, I know it, you know it. Roughly 4 years after he started at CCWF, although it would take nearly a decade for details to emerge publicly. Yeah, that's what you call cover-up. Jamie Torres, a CDCR Internal Affairs Special Agent who interviewed the victim in October 2022, recently testified in court that Rodriguez had escorted a woman. Listen to that, like nobody knew this? Come on. They do regular roll calls in prison. Behind the work exchange, yeah, they always have to have a place to R, right? A checkpoint that women pass through on their way to prison jobs. And then she had S with him. Okay, let's get it clear. Was this against her will? Because if it was against her will, that's the R word. That's the R word. Well, let's see. Let's see how they try to paint it. It could have been consensual. By law, an officer cannot have a consensual relationship. They always do cry the consensual crap, don't they? They always do. They always do. No means no. With an incarcerated person, you mean a woman? And any sexual contact is considered abuse. That's that, I forgot what it's called, but it's like when there's an imbalance of power. In the UK, it's illegal. I don't know if it's illegal here in the United States. It should be. Like that Wally Hank scumbag. Rodriguez continued to assault the woman. So wait, you're telling me it was consensual, right? That's what they're saying in the first statement. They're saying that it was consensual, and now all of a sudden it's not? Somebody needs to make up their mind here. Rodriguez continued to assault the woman through September 2014, at times in a substance abuse treatment building, as well as in clinics. This reminds me of the police officers that take the women in their cars into in the back area. Yeah. Torres said Rodriguez allegedly told her she was his girlfriend and gave her underwear, cosmetics, jewelry, and alcohol. That's the bribe. She felt she was doing what she felt she had to do, the investigator said. Okay, so then why would you, in your idiocracy, in the first statement, say it was consensual? I mean, if it's under duress, it's not consensual. If it's under duress, it's not consensual, and that means rape. Facts. A pattern emerged in Rodriguez's tactics. Over time, records and internal investigators, I don't trust internal anything, testimony indicate multiple women allege he first verbally harassed them. And of course, none of the other corrections officers knew, right? Playing dumb, just like a lot of the ex-Scientologists play dumb. I'm not saying all Scientologists, but a lot of them play real dumb about stuff. It's also called aiding and abetting in crimes, yeah. Multiple women allege he first verbally harassed them, commenting on their breasts, which is sexual abuse, by the way, tattoos, hair, and gym workouts, and making explicitly sexual remarks. That's 100% sexual abuse right there. Most said he isolated them in areas without cameras, typically under false pretenses. And so you guys are telling me, when he's doing this stuff, that the other corrections officers are not wondering where he's at? That all the cameras that they have, because they have a lot of them, this correctional officer is like nowhere to be found and nobody wonders where he is? Come on. typically under false pretenses, claiming they were needed for appointments or cleaning services. Oh, like the little girl maids in Scientology, right? He then asked for sex in exchange for items such as gum or tobacco. He's bribing them, while also threatening to write them up or make prison very difficult if they told anyone or did not comply. There's the secrecy. That's why we really need to work on the children understanding that secrets are not okay. There shouldn't be any secrets when it comes to these types of things. No one would believe you. Ah, don't they always say that? They're just like a little baby. I need to rape you and nobody's gonna believe you. 'Cause I can't have regular sex. I'm just like a little pussy. I need to rape women to get off. One woman said he told her. The majority of rapes later alleged in the criminal case occurred in 2021 and 2022 in the Board of Parole hearings, BPH area, where incarcerated residents have confidential legal visits or appear before commissioners. Commissioners, guys. Interesting. To plead for their freedom. They're pleading for their freedom when meanwhile the prison guards are R-ing them. Isn't that crazy? One woman thought she was going to BPH for a meeting about an early release program. Listen to this. But she was met by Rodriguez, who raped her. Internal investigators say another believes she was meeting the head of the prison there. Rodriguez allegedly offered extra phone time to two women, including one who had just lost a loved one. Vulnerability there. And took the opportunity to talk to her family. She said he began assaulting her while she was still crying after the call. Sick. That's a sadist. That's what I'm talking about. Psychopath. That's a psychopath, bro. One woman said and it probably got him off, like her crying. That's how they are. One woman said she confided in Rodriguez, bad idea, about her struggles with substance abuse. And he coerced her into sex by offering to get her Suboxone. Always like with the bribing and the blackmail. It always goes hand in hand. Medication to treat addiction. She complied but never got the prescription. And instead he gave her heroin, she reported. Oh my God. You guys know this is rampant in the prisons. You know. We know. The cover-up is real, bro. She overdosed and was hospitalized. So nobody's asking, like, where she got the heroin. I mean, granted, we all know that in prisons they do get that. I've been saying this, and I'm not an expert in the prison system, but I've been saying this for the longest. And this is just because I know stuff. You guys know that a lot of the prison guards are involved in the drug dealing, as well as police officers. How do you think that the drug dealing and the drugs are so rampant? Come on now, man. Interrogated and sent to solitary. Oh, almost like the little children that are told that they're out 2D when they get assayed, right? Or in the JWs, where they're supposed to get two witnesses and tell the pastors, and then they're punished for getting assayed as a child. Same stuff. Interrogated and sent to solitary. CCWF looked into Rodriguez as early as 2014. An investigator revealed... Oh, darn. Hold on. But the investigator's testimony suggests that the prison's first documented investigation failed his victim. Where have we heard that before? Each California prison has an investigative service unit made up of officers made up of officers who review claims of staff misconduct and investigate incarcerated people accused of violations such as bringing in contraband. Does that include the corrections officer who's R-ing women and bringing in heroin? Inquiring minds want to know. In 2014, CCWF conducted an administrative investigation, yeah, we could trust that, into reports of overfamiliarity and a sexual relation. You mean when he's R-ing her? Is that what you guys mean? Between Rodriguez and an incarcerated woman, the investigator testified in court. That woman, Valerie, told the Guardian a staff member, not her, had reported Rodriguez. Okay, so there's someone trying to do the right thing. You know, when you're dealing with evil, it's not always an easy task. To CCWF. In the months leading up to the investigation, Valerie said she had been groomed, coerced, and then reportedly assaulted. She had been terrified to come forward. Of course. She said hurt that she had initially trusted Rodriguez and scared by his threats after he started assaulting her. She wanted the assaults to stop, she said, but she was desperate to avoid repercussions. You see what they do? Oh, it's just so sick. At that time, I felt I was responsible for all of the abuse. Just like the children in Scientology getting AR'd right now that nobody's doing anything about. I felt I was responsible for all of the abuse. I just felt trapped because I couldn't talk to anybody. There's the isolation. When ISU eventually brought her in for questioning, Valerie said they interrogated me as if I was the one to be blamed. Always the same thing with these scum. Shank. Officers implied Valerie had behaved inappropriately and manipulated Rodriguez. Can you believe this? I can. Told you I was in the Army for almost 6 years. She said she had wanted to tell investigators what she'd endured, but that their threats and intimidating questions. I wonder if the LAPD knows about that. Like when, what is it called? The chief of the LAPD looked at Leah Remini and he said, "Oh, who are you? Who are you?" But that the threats and intimidating questions, just like Scientology, had made it clear they did not see her as a victim. So she told them nothing that had happened, hoping she wouldn't face further consequences. There's that secrecy shit again. While the investigation continued, she was sent to solitary confinement. Isn't that great? You know, there is throughout the world, there's such hatred of women. Such hatred of women. She said where she recalled being stuck for several months, just like the children that go to the child RPF after they've been assaulted by grown-ass men or women. Isn't that wonderful? She received no mental health care. Of course, they don't want documentation, you see. They don't want documentation because they know it's true. And they're all doing it too. Well, in the SHU, other than brief check-ins from a clinician who went cell to cell to make sure we're not suicidal. Yeah, that's the cover-up. They do the same thing in Scientology. When the young children are suicidal, they kick them out. Facts, facts, facts. She said during this time she was no longer allowed to have face-to-face visits. So she's getting punished. You know what they're doing? They're telling her, you better shut your mouth. That's what they're doing. So was only able to see her mother behind glass. Also, that's to keep it quiet. They're getting off on R and those women. Ooh, they just, they got an R. They got an R. They can't have consensual sex. Something's wrong in their head. She said she had tried to confide in a male prison psychologist. You guys should see my crazy face right now. Alluding to the sexual abuse. Watch this. Watch this, guys. I got a psychologist story I might tell you guys one day. But that he had quickly made her uncomfortable. Of course. That's the plan, you guys. Everybody thinks that psychiatrists and psychologists are all these good people. I got a story to tell one day. Asking her questions about the M word. Oh my God. It's time to clean house, you guys. It's time. And at the session's end, hugging her. That's a boundary violation. That's a boundary violation. She further shut down. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. It's also like they do that in mind control as well. She eventually learned CDCR would be transferring her to another prison, farther from her family. That's also the isolation to keep her mouth shut. They do that in Scientology as well. Who had themselves relocated to be closer to CCWF. I was dealing with the guilt. Guilt? Don't ever be guilty. Like I messed up again. You see, that's what they do. It's a shaming and all that narcissist stuff. Rodriguez remained at the prison. Terry Hardy, a CDCR spokesperson, we could trust that, said in an email that in November 2014, the prison received information. Oh, wait. Can't wait for this crap. Received information that indicated there was possible sexual misconduct. You mean raping? Is that what you mean, raping? By Rodriguez, and immediately opened an investigation, but the case was closed due to insufficient evidence. Huh. Kind of like Miriam Francis's case was closed because statute of limitations was up for her pedo father. Yeah. Not like other crimes were committed. An embattled warden. Oh, they make it sound like he's so important. Colby Lenz, an advocate with the California Coalition for Women's Prisoners, who is working with several of Rodriguez's alleged victims. When does it not become alleged anymore? Do you need video? Said that over the years his behavior had become so widely known. See? So widely known. So widely known, you guys. That some women developed a buddy system to try to avoid being alone with him. Shank. Selena told The Guardian that after Rodriguez groped her so blatantly and suddenly, like the other prison guards didn't know, right? All the women knew, but the other prison guards didn't know. The warden didn't know. Could the videos be on the black market? Huh? Selena told The Guardian that after Rodriguez groped her so blatantly and suddenly, I looked at him and said, "You've done this before. This is easy for you." When she returned to her housing unit in hysterics, 2 women appeared unfazed. They said, "That's just him. The officers hide everything." See? Rest in peace, Officer Tipping. Records and interviews with several survivors of abuse in CDCR reveal most felt unable to speak out. It's just how they want it. You guys, go online, do a Google search of the vow, either the vow of secrecy, which is known in Catholicism and Jesuit circles, as well as the sign. Go look to see how many pictures they have of children with tape over their mouth or with the shush sign. Hear no evil. What is it called? I hear nothing, I see nothing, I know nothing. Something like that. Hippocrates. Harpo. Records and interviews with several survivors of abuse in CDCR reveal most felt unable to speak out. Okay. Harassment and assault by guards is widespread and normalized, women said, noting that these abuses occur across institutions. Yes, they do. Misogyny. In past years, there have been major scandals at the other CDCR women's prison near Los Angeles. Oh, wait a minute. Not Los Angeles. The City of Angels? Is that the City of Fallen Angels? The federal institution in the Bay Area. Yeah, of course. And LA youth jails. Wait a minute, do you mean children? Wait, are you guys telling me that the children are getting R2 and it's getting covered up? Wow. Women know that filing a complaint is extremely risky and unlikely to result in the prison taking action. So basically, if you go into prison, you're a sitting duck. My young nephew, who's no longer on earth, who died of a heroin addiction in jail, in a Milwaukee jail, revealed, I'm not going to go too deep, but he did reveal to someone that he was assaulted. And I believe that's why he got addicted to that. I do. As their cases are often difficult to prove, especially when there is no physical evidence or witnesses. You guys see, it's always the same thing. They even do this with the children. There's no evidence or witnesses. Well, what about the videos that you guys are selling on the black market or the dark web? As Rodriguez repeatedly reminded them, who would believe them? Look at that ugly scumbag. Guys, see his eyes? They're black. Black eyes. You know he's a sacrificial lamb, right? That's what they do. Always pay attention to the visual symbols too. I'm not sure if the red and white is a sign, but in case you guys didn't know, red and white means sacrifice. Facts. At CCWF, some of Rodriguez's victims say other guards at times appeared suspicious of Rodriguez. No kidding. You're kidding, right? No. But did not intervene. That's that brotherhood secrecy crap. Alleged that after Rodriguez raped her, 3 officers subsequently questioned her about her whereabouts during the incident. Why are you questioning her? Why are you questioning her? I know why. She told them she'd had an attorney video visit, as Rodriguez had ordered her to say. And all the officers knew this was untrue. And one of them appeared surprised. Listen, this is the most important part, you guys. That's why I need my sound effects. They didn't report the incident. They were so surprised they didn't report it. Of course, we do know, in fairness to a lot of police officers, and fairness to a lot of correctional officers and sheriffs, in fairness to them, you guys don't know what kind of pressure they are under to not talk. Rest in peace, Officer Tipping. At a later medical appointment, she said she requested STD and pregnancy testing. Listen to this, you guys. But was told she'd have to admit to engaging in risky behavior and face discipline. They didn't want her getting evidence. I'm kind of nuts. I probably would have done it anyway. I'm a little nutty. Some guards, the women said, actively helped Rodriguez secure time. Of course they did. Hello. Intimidated victims or approached victims themselves. You know what you guys need to do? Throw these kind of guys in the front lines. That's what you do. Valerie said at least 4 officers had started harassing and propositioning her after Rodriguez started assaulting her. It's a system. They'd be getting off on rape. Ooh, I just can't wait to rape a woman. Another woman who has sued Rodriguez for sexual assault said that after she had spoken to investigators, this is where it gets the cover-up. 2 officers who she believed were friends with Rodriguez accosted her on her way to church. Ripped up her paperwork. Yeah, I'd say that's cover-up. We coming for you. We coming for you, you perpetrators. You guys get off on hurting women. It turns you on. And put her in handcuffs without cause. That's also illegal. So why aren't these other correctional officers being tried right now. Why? She stopped going to church. Do you imagine? They just took everything from her. They just get off on it. Turns them on. The prison's leadership, the one without names, also faced scrutiny for facilitating. Yeah, that's also known as aiding and abetting. Accessory to crimes. Rodriguez's behavior. Mike Pilates, the warden, you guys know this MNFer's in on it. I do wonder how much money they're making off the videos, At CCWF, during the reported rapes, failed to protect women from a serial rapist. That's called aiding and abetting. That's accessory to crime. There's also more crimes that they committed there. Robert Chalfant, an attorney for 7 women, is alleged in filings. Chalfant's lawsuits say Pilates had received complaints, of course he did, about Rodriguez prior to many of the 2022 assaults, but did not take any action. Where have we heard that before? Nor did he launch internal affairs investigations. Where have we heard that before? On the contrary, according to Chalfant, the warden approved Rodriguez's overtime requests. Oh, isn't that great? He got rewarded. Overtime requests. It reminds me of all that overtime LAPD is getting at Scientology. Where he allegedly committed the rapes. Listen to that. The warden approved for him to have overtime requests in the area where he was raping the women. In a December statement after 2 women filed lawsuits, Pilates said Rodriguez shamefully hid behind his badge. Aww. And used it to victimize a vulnerable population. Yeah, because you know why, you guys? He gets off on it. It turns him on. But he did not acknowledge that he himself was twice sued by female colleagues for sexual misconduct. Where have we heard stories like that before? A CCWF administrative worker has alleged Pilates coerced her into sex in 2015 in a lawsuit that was recently dismissed. Almost like those lawsuits that get dismissed regarding Scientology crimes. Crazy how that works, And a former female warden of the prison separately alleged that Pilates made unwanted advances against her when she was his boss in a lawsuit that is ongoing. I hope they nail them. Tremaine Carroll, another woman. Wow, there's so many women. Wow, these men. Boy, the minute those women walk through the door, they say raw meat. Oh, they can't wait. They're so excited for it. Oh, just gets them off, dude. Tremaine Carroll, another woman who says Rodriguez abused her, has also accused Pilates of sexual assaulting her in official complaints in a lawsuit. Carroll, who is a trans woman, has said Pilates coerced her by threatening to send her back to men's prisons. Is that another blackmail? Oh, another threat. Oh, you're such an incompetent, insignificant scumbag. You've got to threaten a trans woman of going back to men's prison because you need to R her. It gets you off so much. The threat of being sent back to men's prisons is worse than having a GUN pointed at me. I need to earmark all these other stories. Pilates and his attorneys did not respond to requests for comment. Kind of like the Scientology lawyers, Or their spokespeople. His lawyers argued in filings that there was no reason for him to believe the overtime was nefarious. Oh, you just didn't know anything, huh? All the women prisoners were avoiding Rodriguez, and there were so many times where nobody knew where Rodriguez was, since everything's on video, but you didn't know anything nefarious was going on, huh? And that the women's complaints have failed to prove, just like the little children that they report their sexual abuse, and just how the children are lying, right? Failed to prove that the warden, they say that with the children victims as well. Failed to prove that the warden was on notice. Oh, he didn't know anything. That Rodriguez posed a substantial risk of serious harm. Oh, you mean the other correctional officers didn't know anything? They didn't know anything. Right, like the other correctional officers that tore up the other lady's paperwork, right? And then she stopped going to church. She had nothing. That's what they like to do, too. They want to break down someone all the way down to the ground. Pilates. Okay, I already read that. I noticed that Rodriguez posed a substantial risk of serious harm. Oh, you didn't know anything. You like that kind of stuff too, don't you? It seems that way. It gets you all excited. Vulnerable women with no family, nobody to protect them. That's what turns you on, doesn't it? The State Justice Department, yeah, we know we can trust that, which is representing Pilares in several civil cases, declined to comment. Can't guarantee protection. It's unclear what exactly prompted the recent internal inquiry that ultimately resulted in Rodriguez's prosecution. There was too much evidence pending. But CDCR said in a press release in December 2022 that the department and the CCWF ISU had begun investigating the guard in July 2022 immediately. Sure they did. This is cover-up, you guys. This is what cover-up looks like. After discovering information that suggested sexual misconduct. The release said he retired. See? Oh, that's the famous one. Just like certain police officers that retire. Facts. In August of 2022, after he was approached by investigators. For some of the women, speaking up came at a heavy cost. Of course. They can't keep it going. Don't you know all those vulnerable women that are locked up and have nowhere to go? That gets these men off. It turns them on. It's the only way they can, you know. The criminal records indicate that women increasingly spoke to investigators last fall. For some of the women speaking up, okay, sorry you guys, it came at a heavy cost. Latasha Brown, who says Rodriguez assaulted her in the BPH area, said that after she had spoken, I wonder how much biological evidence is in that area. I bet there's a lot of it. Said that after she had spoken to a civil attorney investigating Rodriguez, a process separate from the institution's investigation, officers placed her in segregation. That's the thing. Put the women who are in segregation. Don't allow them to see their family members, or in some cases, move them to another prison. And don't worry, the psychologist will hug you and ask you about the M word. Kind of like how those children in Scientology have to ask grown adults about the M word. Yeah, they get off on this. She said they had forced her to do multiple strip searches. That's another sadist thing. I remember I had mentioned to you guys, a lot of the British orphanages, the Catholic ones, in which the children were getting severely abused, including sexual abuse, they used to make the children completely strip naked, and then they would spank them. Is sick. had forced her to do multiple strip searches for no discernible reason. Also illegal. It's illegal. In a manner that felt cruel and retaliatory. Facts. I'm the alleged victim and you're treating me like a perpetrator. Yep. I just wanted my humanity recognized. Well, those kind of scumbag, psychopathic, sicko, freak, rapists, you'll never get any of that from them. Never. Including the psychologist, who should have his license taken away. Facts. While in isolation, cut off from loved ones, it's just what they want. And at one point, without a utensil to eat with, just what they want to make her feel like an animal. When they're the animals, they're projecting all their sicknesses onto her. She struggled with suicidal thoughts, just what they wanted. One less witness, right? I wanted to check out. I was freezing and eating meals with my fingers, and I didn't want to live through that. By the way, a lot of Scientology children are going through this. CDCR eventually transferred her to another institution. Yeah, it's what they do. Just like when the Catholic Church moves priests, or the Jehovah's Witnesses move the pedophile pastors, they all do the same thing. Which she believed was for her safety. Maybe. Well, it also would require more investigation. They don't want that, you see. But again, she was placed in solitary. I felt victimized all over again. Being in segregation was more traumatic than what I'd been through. Wonder how all those isolated children feel in Scientology. Eating slop. Sleeping on floors with no blankets? Yeah. But he agreed in a July 2023 hearing about the case that there were no documented threats. See, they always, I'm seeing that this is a pattern, no documented threats. Well, we all know what they're doing, but what would be required by a court of law to document threats? What exactly do you guys need? Huh? Do you need a video? You know the women don't have phones. Would you need another correctional officer to say that it happened? Huh. So the secrecy stuff. Carol said she too had been placed in segregation after reporting abuse. That is retaliatory, and that is why victims don't come forward. Just exactly what they want. Because they get off on those vulnerable women. Oh, the minute that newbie, that raw meat passes through that locked gate, they just can't wait. They're just like, ooh, I'm excited. It just turns me on. Rodriguez's lawyer, Roger Wilson, did not respond to repeated requests for comment, just like the Scientology lawyers. But he argued in a July 2023 hearing about the case that there were no I'm sorry I'm rereading stuff. No documented threats made by Rodriguez, noting the former prison guard did not actually issue rules violations. Like, I'll bet you $1 million there's lots of biological evidence in that area. You know what I'm saying? Against the women. Wilson also claimed that for some women, there was no evidence of force or duress. They also say that about the children that come forward. Same thing. And negotiating with Rodriguez for contraband, he offered. Oh, you guys, wait a minute. Wouldn't correctional officers offering contraband, isn't that against your rules? It's against the law, right? With Rodriguez for contraband, he offered for one woman, he claimed there was consent. They always say that, you guys. They always say the same things. The lawyer further argued there was no evidence beyond the woman's claims of Rodriguez bringing in heroin. Deny, 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 deny. Wilson argued for Rodriguez's pretrial release, saying he had been living with and caring for his elderly mother. Oh, he's such a good guy. Oh, what a sweet man he is, caring for his elderly mother. Clearly, that's where the hatred started. And had a close relationship with his 19-year-old daughter. Oh, isn't that... Oh, it just makes me get all warm and fuzzy inside. He noted Rodriguez had no criminal record, so That's because everyone's covering up his crimes. And that he was still collecting his pension. You see this, you guys? You see this? You see this? I just can't. A judge declined to free him. Good. And set the case for trial, which is expected next year. By the way, there's lots of biological evidence, and I hope the women are collecting it right now. Sure do. CDCR declined multiple interview requests, of course they did, over several weeks, and a spokesperson for Governor Gavin Newsom declined to comment. Jennifer Benavides, CDCR's Deputy Director of Facility Operations in the Division of Adult Institutions, said in an email that when women report abuse, they are placed in administrative segregation. Please, please, please. Because those men's male parts sure could find them, couldn't they? For their protection only when no other housing alternatives are available. Okay. And said that victim will continue to receive all programs and privileges. Right. More cover-up. While in isolation, lies. She said an accused employee would have no contact with incarcerated people during the investigation. I mean, do you see how diabolical this is? It's so sick. It takes one person to speak the truth. I always talk about truth. And that gives other people courage, said the Madera County District Attorney, who was prosecuting the case. Okay. While CDCR says it identified more than 22 potential victims, there's more, you guys know there's more, of Rodriguez, the charges were filed on behalf of only 13 women. The Madera County District Attorney says Moreno, who was prosecuting the case, said in an interview that she had filed charges she could prove beyond a reasonable doubt. That makes sense. And also noted some claims of misconduct might not have been criminal. She acknowledged there were probably others besides Rodriguez, facts, who had abused women in the prison but had not faced charges. They're probably still working there right now, you guys. Probably still R-ing women. Isn't that wonderful? Because victims had never reported them, they need to go in and just clean house. Because victims had never reported them or CDCR did not bring cases to her. Well, that's what happens when they're covering it up, duh. Anytime you've got women in this super compromised position where there are these formal and informal power structures, they're going to be taken advantage of. Why was Rodriguez caught? It takes one person to speak the truth, and that gives other people courage. Scientologist women listen to that. Said Moreno, noting that when one woman reports abuse and does not face retaliation, it can snowball. Investigators also have suggested that the case is supported by video corroboration. What'd I say, you guys? Hello? Wonder how much money they made off of it. Including footage that appeared to show Rodriguez touching himself while waiting for one woman to approach. Oh my God. Then the two of them entering a closet-sized room. That's where they hide it. And another video showing him adjusting his zipper as he exited a room with a different woman. And none of the other correctional officers knew, right? No, they're doing it themselves. Hello? Turns them on, you guys. Taking those vulnerable women against their will. It's just, it just gets them all hot and bothered. Moreno said she hoped the case would inspire more women to come forward, but understood why survivors may still be hesitant. Yeah, I wonder how many threats they're getting. Just like Scientology. There is a secrecy. I told you. There is a secrecy in our prisons. I would never tell a woman I can 100% guarantee that you'll be protected. Because we just can't do that. So they do take risks when they report this. In January, a month after CDCR announced it had referred Rodriguez to prosecutors, the department reassigned Pilates to an associate warden position. In a different prison, a CDCR spokesperson told the Sacramento Bee at the time, "We thank him for his time and work at the institution." They always do the politically correct thing. Wonder how many threatening calls he's getting. Nancy Skinner, a state senator who called a hearing on CDCR sexual violence, said she was concerned that Pilates was transferred after being accused. Oh, sorry, you guys, he's another perpetrator. Accused of sexual misconduct. Okay, back it up, you guys. Never mind what I said. I don't think he should have been allowed to move on. Facts! Just like all the pedophile priests and the P-files in the JWs. I mean, it's just, there should have been more consequences. Sure, yeah, because it's against the law. How about that? How about that for a start? Selena and Valerie are pseudonyms to protect their anonymity as they remain incarcerated and continue to fear retaliation. Okay, you guys, and you can donate to this newspaper. Let's see, Guardians, if you want. I'll leave a link in the description box. Like and subscribe if you choose. Otherwise, have an amazing day or night wherever you are. Peace.